Hola, criadores de tendencias. Phat cruza aqui. O seu amigável Irawaha Motovlogger. No, it's not a parallel universe where I now speak really poor Portuguese. This is a challenge that Lazy Boy Rider gave to me to speak a little bit of Portuguese on one of my videos, and that's my really lame attempt. So for that I do apologise. No, today I did want to talk about something different, and that is just a couple of things that contribute to the flow and engagement of motovlogging videos. Now, recently I've watched a fair few motovlogging videos that have very little to no editing in them. And that's understandable. I mean, the editing process is very time consuming and can be a little bit tricky sometimes. But as a content creator that's hoping to make it, semi-well in this business, I have to think about a few things that may turn some viewers away from my videos. So I sat down and I had to think about it, and I've come up with a list of 4 things. Okay, so number 1 on that list, for me, it's audio quality. Now, it's very hard to stay engaged with a video when you're trying to listen to what the guy is saying, but his audio is too soft, too loud, not understandable, or is overpowered by wind or engine noise. For me, an external microphone mounted somewhere nicely in a quiet spot of your helmet, just so that they can hear your vocals over any of the external noise, is a must. The second thing for me is camera angle. Now, when I'm watching a motovlogging video, I like to get a sense for what the rider is experiencing. And that's pretty difficult to do when the camera angle is perhaps too low down at the dash or the ground, or if it's too high over the handlebars and makes you feel like you're flying in midair, or if the view that the camera gives you is predominantly taken up by the side of the helmet. The next thing I'd say is on my list would be really long pauses in the conversation, or excessive periods of time where there's nothing interesting to look at except the rider riding, or there's nothing interesting to hear or see except the ride. Now, if I wanted to just see someone riding a motorcycle, I'd jump on Stella and go for a ride. Then the 4th thing for me is excessive ums and ahs. Now, I'm a serial ummer and ahrer, I must admit, but there are things that I do in the editing process that help alleviate the viewer's requirement to listen to all that stuff in my videos. So the first 2 of those points really have to do with the equipment that you use and how it's mounted, but you will be restricted to the quality of that equipment by the amount of money you can throw at the quality of equipment. So that's fair enough, but even the cheapest of cameras on the market these days has an external mic jack, and there are tons of external microphones that you can get on the cheap that really enhance the vocal quality of your videos at an affordable price. Now, even before I started using the Cena backpack that I've got on at the moment, the microphone that I had was just a cheapo one that I got for a few bucks off eBay. You're welcome. It's nice when a driver thanks you for letting them in. You don't get that all that often these days. So the second 2 things that I mentioned actually have to do with the content that you're recording. And what I found is there are a couple of simple techniques that you can use in the editing process to help keep the content flowing and keep your viewers more engaged with the video and help them to watch it right to the end. So the first of the things that you can do basically involves taking a knife and cutting out all the boring bits. Now, thankfully, I'm able to use Adobe Premiere, which makes this process fairly simple, but it is a standard feature of most video editing software packages, even the free ones. If you take a look at any of the good motovlogging videos out there, you'll notice that the content is such that it flows in a manner that keeps the viewer engaged and enjoying and watching it right to the end, because they keep giving them something that's interesting to see and hear. Now, most of the experienced motovloggers out there can probably jump on the bike, get out there, say what they need to say and get it all done in one take. And if you can do that, then more power to you, because you're going to save a ton of time in the editing process. But if you're like me, you probably have to take a few takes to get things done, because you'll muddle words up. You know, sometimes I mispronounce things, or I get distracted by things on the road that causes a bit of a pause in the conversation. And those things I've got to cut out of the footage. So in those cases, what I do is I take a knife out and I cut out those pauses and I cut out those muddled words and bits of messed up conversation. And if there is a long pause that I do want to show the viewer as part of my journey, just so they can understand my experience, what I'll generally do is make it interesting. So I'll take out just the small interesting parts, things like when I'm taking corners or interacting with other people on the side of the road, or if I'm going past a nice bit of scenery. And what I'll do is I'll take those parts, put them together, speed them up, and maybe put them to music or something like that, just to keep the flow of the thing going, so you still get an understanding of what I'm going through, but you don't have to sit there twiddling your fingers just watching me ride a motorbike. So I also do the same thing for all my ums and ahs. Now, luckily I have this 2-camera setup here, and what I'll do generally is if I have to cut out a bit of an or an ah from the video, I'll generally change the camera angle right where that cutout bit is, so you hardly ever notice it. But you will sometimes see little jumps in the footage if I wasn't able to change the camera angle, and that's generally an indication that I've cut out a big ah. So there are a lot of things that I'm figuring out as I go along, but I find the ability to do some basic cutting or setting some music to long passages of time, or even trying to depict those long passages of time in some other way, is helping me keep the flow of my videos going and keeping my viewers more engaged. So a couple of questions for you guys to answer in the comments if you can. From the perspective of a viewer, what things about motovlogging videos tend to make you switch off? And what things do you find more engaging and keeping you watching right to the very end? Then, from the other perspective of other motovloggers out there, what techniques do you use to keep the flow of your videos going and to keep your viewers engaged? So if you can leave a comment, let's continue discussion there. So guys, that's really all I had for today. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up, share it around your social media, continue the discussion down in the comments, and make sure you click the hell out of that subscribe button. So as Lazy Boy Rider and this challenge would have me say, je compri e eu vou te pegar no outro lado. Take care, guys.